Hi everyone, this is April. I'm back to do a video for you. I know I've been gone for a while, but been very busy teaching, and I just want to share this with you. This is one of my popular projects with my students. It's another way to paint on fabric, and it only takes minutes, and it's very simple. So let me show you here. I have this on a black canvas apron, and I'm using, this is all fabric paint, so if you wash it, it's permanent. And what I'm using are dimensional paints, which means it will dry a little raised, so you'll feel texture on when you run your fingers through it. So I'm going to show you here how we're going to do that, apply it on the fabric. And they come in all different colors. The white against the black I love, so this is what I'm going to show you. But you can use other colors, and just like the color crayons, they come in all different colors. So if you like bright and something more colorful, use one with color. Let's see, I'm going to share here. This one I did using the gold, and I used actually the gold squeeze bottle along with a gold glitter right underneath, and did this design. And this is just gold, really nice. And then here is one where I used some other colors, and I like black because it just makes everything look so nice and really bright. So this is one where I used color, and I'm going to demonstrate on a black tote. And let me just move this over here, get this out of the way. So I've got this black tote here. Make sure that you have no wrinkles, so you may have to iron it. Make sure there's nothing underneath, so handles need to be out of the way. And if there's any wrinkles or any kind of bump, make sure it's nice and smooth, because any little bump will show it on your fabric. And you want to put something inside. I just put a little white paper underneath, or just in case the paint kind of seeps through. We don't want it to go onto the other side. So make sure you have that. And I took my chalk and I just kind of sketched in my petals. And remember, your chalk is just a guide. You don't have to follow it exactly, because with chalk, what's nice is when you use your brush, you just kind of wipe it off. See that? It just goes away. So don't worry if you have chalk marks after you finish your painting. So I've got that all sketched out. Now I want to share some of the other things that we're going to be using. This is textile medium, and I'm going to show you how we're going to use that. And to add even more sparkles, I have like powder glitter, really nice, and it's very fine, so make sure that when you get the glitter, it's the fine glitter, not the coarse. And you'll find this in the fabric area because it's made for fabric. And let's see, an acrylic paint and some tinting that we're going to do. I'm going to show you. Let me just show you a little bit here, because we're going to cover a lot of things here. So I have another one that's already done. Here's with my white and a little bit of glitter. Now here's where I added a little bit of color, and this is just tinting the fabric. So I'm going to share that with you also. Okay. I'm going to use this fabric dimensional paint, and this is white. And this is the puffy one. There is one, it doesn't have to be puffy. There's one that's just called slick, and all it is white dimensional fabric paint. But the puffy one will raise even more, so after it dries and you put the heater on or the dryer, the paint will it will swell and puff up a little bit, which is kind of a neat effect. The brushes you'll need, I've got two sizes here, one big one and a little small one like this, a flat, make sure it's nice and soft. You could even use a filbert brush, which is the flat brush but kind of rounded at the top. But this one will work. And I'm gonna just make sure that the opening is nice and open. So I always, stick a pin or something in here, even a nail, to make sure it's nice and clear, because if it's not clear and you clean, if it's not clean or clear, and you squeeze this on, you're gonna squeeze harder to get it out, and then you'll get this, which is not a good thing. So make sure there's no clogs, and you may want to even test it out a little bit. And I'm going to start squeezing right here. And always shake the bottle. You want the paint to be towards the tip there, so you don't struggle squeezing it out. The thickness of this is like a spaghetti noodle, okay? Don't go too big. And let me just do a few at a time. Now, if you're just starting out, you may want to do this as you finish, outline as you go, because you do want to work quickly. So I've outlined the top. I didn't go all the way to the bottom because I'm going to use this here and start pulling. Watch here. Pull, flick, flick. And I'm pulling this towards the center. So here's the center of my design here, my flower. So I'm kind of pulling towards that, but don't bring it all the way down. You see I'm flicking the brush, so we like a lot of this black. There we go. And be careful. You see that? I'm going to show you how we can fix that too. But you don't want a lot of those smudges. So it's better if you squeeze and do it as you go. And you see I'm kind of pulling towards that dot. So the direction and how you pull is real important. You don't want to, be going straight across. Here, I'm just going to add a little more here. And while that paint is still wet, I'm just going to take a little bit of my glitter, that fine glitter. And this is if you like the glitter. We'll just sprinkle a little bit on here. And the wet paint is what becomes the glue for your glitter. So I'm just going to do this quickly. And remember, if you don't want to see this whole part being done, you can always fast forward it. If you're a fast learner and you want to get started. So here, going towards that dot, but not pulling it all the way across. So here, and turn your fabric. Keep your hand out of the way, fingers out of the way. And I'm kind of leaning the brush to one side as I'm doing this. So I'm not using the entire flat of my brush. Make sure you keep this flat, the fabric. And I'm outlining, and I'll just do another one here. So remember, if you're working, kind of working slowly, you want to, do one petal at a time, because you don't want this to dry. But I'm just kind of doing more so that we don't make this video too long. See here. So just keep pulling. And it's okay to turn the fabric as you go. It's going to be easier. And it's better to start on the outer part so that you can work in, or to start from the top, I guess I'm saying, and then work down. Then your hand won't be in the way, if that makes any sense. So here, pulling, pulling, and you see that? I'm kind of always watching where my center is. Okay? And because you're kind of removing paint as you're pulling, have a paper towel handy, because you can, you know, just wipe it off. And remember I told you not to outline the entire petal, because we want the black to be part of the design. So how we shape that half of the petal, I just pull a little bit of the white, and that's how the side gets filled in. Okay, so here, going towards the center, and as I'm pulling, the brush is slightly overlapping each other, because we don't want a lot of, like a big space in between. So here I'm pulling, flick, flick. And you see how I'm pulling lines very close to each other where it's almost overlapping. But you see how the black becomes part of your design here. Now these three here are leaves. And that I know because we've got pointed at the tip. So I'm just going to quickly show you here. And you see I'm not really following the outline. You don't have to. It's just a guide for you, because you can wipe off the chalk marks. And here's the leaf. Now the leaf center is right here. If a stem were to attach to that leaf, it would be right up here, and that's where you want to aim as you're going. So I'm starting here, pulling, pulling. Same thing, aim towards that. Keep it close. And then I usually just paint that stem right in the center. And here we go again, here, pull, 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 aiming towards that top of the leaf. Flick. You see I'm just pulling. There's my little dot in the center of that leaf. And then paint that stem using the chisel of your brush. And then one last one here. So I would suggest to practice a little bit, because what's important with this dimensional paint, you gotta keep your pressure when you're squeezing out the paint to be consistent. You don't want to, squeeze too hard, or what would happen if you squeeze too hard? The lines would be way too thick. Okay, I'm putting on this. Now, I always add a few right in the middle here at the end. So I'm just going to quickly just do this. So you see how fast this goes? And turn your surface, but always aim for that center. I teach a lot of classes here, and this is one of my students' favorite project, because it's so fast, it's so easy, and it looks so pretty when it's done. So here, pulling, 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 and remember, don't cover up the black. The black becomes your design. So here, and then I always finish off the center with maybe some dots. Okay, I'm just erasing that chalk dot there. And just put squeeze some little dots here. So people who have never painted before, especially on fabric, this is a super fun one to do. And I always go back and add some little tendrils. Oh, I forgot. I did add some leaves where I used the brush. So I'm taking my thick brush here, and I'm looking for a palette. Well, you know what? I'll just use this right here. I'm using a glittery acrylic paint here. And this one has a tint of green. So let me show you my original here. So you can see it's very shiny, and because I'm going to brush this on, there's really no dimension on there, but you can feel it. It does add texture. So I'm taking my big brush and I'm just picking up a lot of that glitter fabric paint, which is like a tint of green in it, and I will just brush this on. And when you paint this, it does look milky at the beginning, but when it dries, it will dry a little bit, it'll dry more sparkly, I guess. More glittery, you'll see the green. So I'm laying my chisel, I sit my brush down and pull, and I turn the top a little bit. So this just adds a little hint of color and looks really pretty when it's done. Okay. And then with the little bit of glitter, just shake it, and then I would leave this outside and let it dry. And you see here where there's chalk marks. I'll just show you a little bit here how you just can wipe this off, but wait till after it dries. But you see how easy this comes off? The little chalk marks that are kind of showing through. So just take a wet, clean brush and just wipe, and your chalk marks will disappear. All right, so you see how easy that was? Let me put that aside, and let me get my other bag here. So here's a sample of what I did up there, and I'm going to show you how I got this effect. So if you want to add some color, I'll show you this, and it's very easy. I'm just adding color right on top. So when you do that, you got to make sure this is wet. This is dry. Okay, so I would wait a day or so. And depending on how thick you squeezed out the paint to do step one, it may take a day or two to dry. Okay, it's going to take a while because it is thick. So what I do here, I took some fabric paint, and this is my red, and I don't need a lot. You see that? Just a dot. And I'm taking my big brush, and I'm kind of creating watercolor here. Just adding water. Or you can also use textile medium, which I should have maybe done here. So it's almost like water. Okay? So it's very transparent when you brush it on. And wherever I have the petal, I just wipe this on. Look at this. And depending on how much water you add, now I put quite a bit of water, so it's going to be on the lighter side. If you like color, I would still add quite a bit of water, because if you don't add enough water, this white will get covered up with thick acrylic paint, and you would want that the white to still glow through. You see this? So make a good puddle, enough to cover up all your petals. And see how quickly, and I'm just kind of wiping this on. These are for all my petals. And I know they're petals because they're rounded at the top. So here. And then if you get too much, just use your little finger and just kind of pull. And that will kind of remove some of that darkness. But you see that? Look at how neat that is. And then I'm taking my little glitter. And if you're not a glittery person, you don't have to add this part, but the glitter, I think, is the magic too. It just makes it so much prettier. Okay, that's with the red. Now I'm going to do the same thing. Green fabric paint. Got green there. Remember, you don't need a lot. I'm going to clean out my brush, and I'm going to do the same thing, but now with my blue paint. Add water. Make it very watery, inky, and do the same thing. And you see, I'm not being real careful because the black background kind of just absorbs everything, and wherever you went out of the line, doesn't matter, it doesn't show, because this is very transparent and we're not using a lot of paint, so it does just disappear. I'm going to try to tint my little. And remember, if you want more color, just add less water or the textile medium, but you still do want that to thin out the paint. And the last step, just shake that on, and then we just let this dry. Okay, one other thing, because this is going to happen to you. Let's see. You just take a little bit of this white. Let's see if I have. I was just going to show you what would happen, or how do you fix up a boo-boo. Like here, like you went, oh, I went too far in, oh. Okay. Like that here, and you want to bring the black back. I just kind of showed you right there, so how we can fix it, but yours is going to be dry, right? So I'm going to take my black paint. Now I'm just going to wipe this a little bit, just because I just applied it right now. And then if you do a little mistake like that, that would probably be a good thing to do, is wipe it off right away. And now I'm taking my either black fabric paint or even acrylic paint with a little bit of your medium or water, and mix it a little bit, and watch how you can fix up your boo-boo. See that? Now, like here, see right there, and I'm just going to show you little tricks how you can fix it. Like here, I've got really thick white dimensional paint. Now, if you do that as you're doing it, you can always use a clean brush and remove it if it's still wet. Use a clean brush and just use your chisel, and it does wipe off or lift off. Okay? But here, this is already dry. I can come back with my black paint and kind of flick outwards to fix any little mistakes, like if you have too much white. Like right there, it's got a little smudge. So I can take my black paint and just kind of cover up, you know, where you want to remove paint, I guess. Okay. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you give it a try. It's a lot of fun.
On the wall,